Hello, LA, Inglewood, the rest of the world. Welcome to the Cannabis Show, the Green Believers Cannabis Show. Ooh-wee. So today is going to be one of those special days, and we're going to talk about a variety of things. And if you haven't been paying attention, the DCR is getting ready to come back online. And they have a whole lot of different surprises for us that we're trying to catch up with. It is said that they have officially gave the 100 license to the community. And when they open back up, they're going to take a vote on the other 678 applicants. So we don't know what that vote going to come out to be like and how it's going to look. But we're going to cross our fingers and hope everybody get an opportunity to get a temporary license in the coming months. But first, they got to get this other virus under control before they can take those necessary steps. So if nobody haven't told you, they say if you're going to go outside, keep a mask on. They say, when you go be around a lot of people, have a mask on. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Make sure that they stay safe. Because we are under attack in different kind of manners. We under financial attack on not having an opportunity to have a job. And we under financial attack for not understanding how to use the money that we have. So each day we are here trying to make sure that we improve the quality of life in the neighborhood. And now I'm sitting here trying to make sure that I give everybody the right advice so they can be able to come down and see the Green Believers on 33rd and Central. And if you need some technical assistance, feel free to come down and have a discussion with us at the table because we are working on so many different things. And it's just an opportunity if you don't have your game in place. We can help you develop something great. We can teach you to understand about the statutes of running a weed industry. And if you're not in compliance, they're going to take advantage of you and take your license away from you. So this is all about the Green Believers, all about the cannabis world, and this is the Cannabis Show. My girl Shirley is on the line. I haven't talked to her in a while.
What's up, y'all?
Hey.
Hi, Whitey. Hey, Green Believers. So happy to still be here and healthy. I'm still here and healthy, so I'm grateful for that. How are you guys doing?
We doing good. Cheryl, I'm going to introduce you to one of my guys. He's a Navy vet. You know, his name is Antonio Williams. I think you may have ran across him a few times in passing. And he is here to talk about asbestos and other little forms of keeping the weed industry in order and making sure that they don't have no bad spider mites going in their weed and the other little bugs running around their weed. So he have developed an understanding with another person who is really in the business on trying to keep the weed industry going in a better way and can help the people who's growing so that weed won't have spider mites in it and they won't have different little creatures running around it. So I'm going to introduce you now to Antonio Williams.
Hey, how's it going, Cheryl? This is Anthony Williams.
Anthony Williams.
Hi, Anthony Williams. How are you? It's so nice to meet you and welcome to the Green Believers podcast to talk about, well, you know that what you're talking, you know that testing is one of the license activities under legal cannabis, right?
Absolutely.
So are you a licensed tester, or are you an educator for people that are working with other testing labs, or are you trying to become a licensed testing facility yourself?
No, primarily I'm a business developer, and one of my clients has a green tech, I don't think you could call it pesticide because it's all natural products, but it's a incredibly effective and efficient tool for cannabis growers to not lose a percentage of the crops to different type of arthropods and mice, and doing it in such a way that you don't have to use poisonous or toxic pesticides. So from that perspective, I think that's a match made in heaven with the growers community and with all of the compliances and those things that they need to have in place to serve as a genesis to a great business model. And I was having a conversation with Whitey about it, and it dawned on me that this is the perfect match in doing some business for the pesticide and with some other distributors overseas. And they actually mentioned its use in the cannabis industry. So the first thing I thought about was, wow, this is something I have to reach out to Whitey to have this conversation with, because we don't want those poisons or toxins in the cannabis industry. So we want to be able to weed them out without altering the end product in such a way that is safe and cost effective. So that's primarily why I'm here, to talk about that end of it, and just support Whitey. I really support the industry in all its forms, and and which are going to be very useful and multifaceted as we go along. So, yeah, I'm here to support Whitey and to provide information about different products out there and possibly different types of business models that.
Yeah, I'd love to get you on a webinar series with some of our legal testing scientists. So we have a few scientists that are a part of legal testing labs, and we're in the very beginning phase of working on a team that's putting together one of the first social equity testing programs in Los Angeles. So we're working on that right now, but I can't go into much more than that. So it'll be coming soon, and I think it would be great if we had someone to talk, like you said, about some of the products that could be used to help those that pass cultivation licensing, manufacturing, and that have to work with testing labs to better understand what are some of the organic alternatives to making sure that the cannabis is healthy and good, the highest quality that we can bring to market. The licensing industry, that's something that they hang their hat on. So I just wanted to throw that in the mix for our listeners that follow us regularly. We know that licensing was supposed to bring, that's one of the top promises, was that before licensing, you were not sure what you were going to get in your cannabis because no one was regulating that. So you could get almost anything, and so that's one of the messaging is that under licensing, the push for licensing to get everybody to support it was that we could bring another level of quality, another level of consumer protection, consumption protection for those individuals that want it to be patients or recreational, that we could tell them, hey, you know you're getting good quality. So if there's ways we can expand on that using the organic things that you use. So tell me, for example, because I know our listeners want to hear this, what types of organic properties, liquids, sprays, or nutrients that your team makes that helps the cannabis keep bugs and just mold. I think a lot of people worry about mold and things like that.
Well, in this particular instance, Cheryl, the focus is on those type of arthropods, mice, worms that eat into the inventory, as we should put it. And right now, I think 99% of the alternative or those things used to combat it are the regular types of pesticides that tend to have toxins and poisons. Well, this particular product it's been around for 12 years. The owner is Rich Numata, the president of BRSI Industries, and he's been using the product in Japan to fight beetles infestation at a commercial farm, and in Indonesia. He's in Hawaii, but it's hard to get him for him to get a foothold in the U.S. because the big companies like Orkin and Terminix are sort of pushing him out of the industry. So it just so happens that as I was talking to some overseas clients that he's selling his product to fight some severe bed bug problems in Indonesia, the gentleman on the phone happened to mention cannabis industry. And the first thing I thought about was Whitey, because I know he's an essential source of information and knowledge in that industry. And I thought that this particular product, because of its organic nature, just like you said, from that perspective would be a great match. And understanding the manufacturing of any product, the more product that you save, the better your profit lines are. The less you have to throw out and maintain a very good business posture. So having said that, I reached out to Whitey and we had some conversations and we're going to continue some conversations. I'm going to introduce him and Cheryl, I'd love to invite you along and maybe we could have a Zoom cast with the owner, Rich Numata. Now, Rich lives in Whittier. His manufacturing plant for his products are in Whittier. So this is U.S. manufacturing. It would be great to have this conversation. He had been mentioning over the course of the 3 years I've known him different uses in the cannabis market, but it just never connected until recently. And like I said, as soon as the gentleman from Turkey mentioned the cannabis industry, a couple of hours later, I picked up the phone and called Whitey to talk to him about it because I know he's an essential source.
And you know, at the end of the day, Cheryl, we always try to understand that we can use this in a manner where no chemicals will be put inside the marijuana. And if we can keep marijuana chemical free, it'll do wonders for people. And this is all I'm trying to do because I'm a part of your program as you as a part of my program. And we meet right there and we sit at the table and discuss all of this. And I know that you want all the weed to have no chemicals in it and no side effects that's going to hurt the people as they travel through this world. And we are in a dire situation where this COVID thing and they smoking weed, and if it go down their chest in the wrong manner, they're gonna get all sick and all ate up because they're gonna have some different kind of chemicals in their body. And this is what we're fighting for. This is what we do at the Green Believers. This is what we do every day is try to find a way to bring the right product to the table to help the growers and all the rest of the people in America so they can be able to smoke clean weed without being sick. So I knew that you would want to hear about this because you just like me. We reach out to the community and we want to protect the community from people who trying to destroy us on the low. And we don't have no plans on letting anybody destroy us when we have the upper hand to make sure that we stay healthy in the task that we are at. So this method what's going on right now, it don't have any chemicals in it. Is made urbanly by the necessary tools. They're using hot peppers, they're using other ingredients, and it's this pure come from the ground up, and it's just manufactured. And as it look right now, when they use certain provisions in this on different plants, it's not having any effect on the taste of the plant. And if we can get everyone aboard and get them to use this right here, I know I go to bed feeling better because they won't be having no chemicals in them, and the weed taste will still be the same weed taste. And then on top of that, they don't have to worry about resoiling their soil and think that we got to do this every 6 months like they keep on going down there to buy chemicals from the chem lab to make sure that their weed is straight. So this is what I'm looking at, Cheryl, and I'm pretty sure you already done ran it through your brain because it worked just as fast as mine.
No, this is awesome. It's really good. I definitely, like I said, I'm not the cultivator, so I don't want to step outside of my area of expertise, and neither am I one of the testers and scientists who really have a lot of more, traditional ways of trying to keep us safe and healthy, and keep things from harming us. This is an aspect of the cannabis industry that just a lot of the social equity applicants and owners that we work with, this is where they're trying to get their hat in the ring. So again, I just think it's about understanding what the organic properties are, how they use them. If they use organic fruits, I heard Whitey said they use peppers and things like that. I think that would be a great peer-to-peer learning session. That's what we're going to be doing with our technical assistants while we're waiting for our lovely city to get some of those bids out. We're just going to start our own learning series, and we should get you in the first, couple of first 4 recordings so that we can kind of introduce this to our following because people want to know they're getting ready. We just recently had the retail applicants are beginning to move on to the next phases, and our phase 2 operators, which are your growers, your manufacturers, your distributors, and delivery, they're starting to look at, they're getting permanent license, and starting to look at new and innovative, procedures. And like I said, we have a new lab coming online that we're going to be partners in and supporting, and we definitely would love to have some organic, processes that can go into the process, But I think, again, people will be interested in knowing, like, what is it going to, not only with quality, but also cost, sustainability, what kind of training would be involved, what is the source of the materials that are used to create safe cannabis, and then how did you all get to a place of safe, quote-unquote, safe cannabis? Did you have some kind of testing? Did you do focus groups? Did you run a blind, random trial? Like how did your scientists come to this this discovery?
He used he had invented the product about 12 years ago, and for the first 6 to 7 years, he spent millions of dollars trying to get his EPA certifications. And the way the EPA is set up, it's very costly. They run the type of testing that you might be familiar with. They do the storage testing, the efficacy testing, and all of those things. So he has his EPA certifications, and just as important, he has something that I had never heard of before called the National Sanitation Foundation certification, which means the product can be used around food. He has his FDA certifications, but it's classified under the EPA as a pesticide. So he has the type of green tech certifications that say, hey, this is an organic product that's safe to use. You could cook with it if you could, stand the chili effect, the red hot chili effect. But it's a natural chemical blend of I think capsaicin is. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But and
I've heard of that.
Yeah, and capsaicin and other types of chili extracts, pepper extracts, and out of Uruguay. So he has the formula. It's mixed and produced in his manufacturing plant in Whittier. He's been successful. In fact, we've had, we're still waiting on the reply from the Los Angeles Unified School District to use it in the schools. And it covers everything from, without killing domestic animals or without harming, let's say, harming the domestic animals, but as those arthropods, whether they're mice, field mice, cockroaches, worms, he has a list of arthropods that this immediately, not only does it kill, but because of the nature, the organic nature of the product, it gets stronger up to 3 years. It's been used in race tracks to, when they get infected, straw for the horses, and mice come in and they bite the horses and nibble and they infect the horses. So it's been used probably off the grid a lot more than you think, and his main sources of revenue are in Singapore, Hawaii, Philippines, and Indonesia. And we're trying to gain a foothold in the U.S. market. And like I say, Cheryl, and I was telling Whitey that the light bulb went off for me having this conversation with some foreign buyers. Now, they weren't even buying for cannabis, but they wanted to sell to the imams and the clerics in the Islam community to get rid of all the roaches and the arthropod problems that they experience, particularly in the Middle East. So they mentioned cannabis, and I thought about it. So I called Rich Numata, the CEO owner, and he said, "Oh yeah, this is perfect." And then he reminds me that he's been telling me all along about the cannabis value, the value to the cannabis industry. So right after that telephone call, I reached out to Whitey because I knew he was an incredible source, and you are an incredible source, particularly in this industry as we try to grow our black businesses. So we want to be in compliance, we want to be licensed, and we want to produce the best quality product. And just as important, the cost effectiveness of the product is, it's not only competitively priced, but the longevity of the product can last up to 3-4 years. So after the initial application, you might not have to do anything for the next 3 years. And that's just how effective it is. And he has the science, and like I say, he has the EPA certifications to vet all of these particular values that I'm talking about. So
I think this is awesome.
Yes, it is.
This is going to be huge. Like, I can't wait to get you in the to get you in the room with the right folks. This is going to be great. So would we be able to purchase? So say we had some of our folks, would they be able to purchase the pesticide materials? Is it wholesale? Is it retail? How would we be able to bring it to our social equity growers?
We'll work something out. I was talking to Whitey on the business end of this equation, and we were trying to come up with a model where not only is it a competitively priced, but having the genesis of a distributorship to provide them with the product in an expedited way. And as far as the pricing, there's 3 levels of pricing. There's the retail, the wholesale, the distributor price. And depending on which way or which model we work out with the owner, Rich Numata, I'm sure we'll work out something that everybody can benefit from.
So in other words, Cheryl, it's like here we are, we sitting here trying to figure out the best solution to a whole lot of problems in the grow industry. And if the grow industry can get their hands on some new pesticide with no chemicals in it and it's clean, they should be understanding that right now, at this time, they're gonna be able to put a product on the field, and it's gonna be super, super good. And then they don't have to go through the other part where the EPA gonna come by and check their soil and say, "Oh man, you in an agriculture violation." Like we had one of our friends was in an agriculture violation, and he didn't understand why he was in it. But every time we sit back and we try to figure things out, we need to look at the chemicals, and if we can find something without chemicals in it and can protect the soil and the weed plant, that means they don't have to worry about the EPA coming to check their water or doing anything and saying you in violation of the agricultural division and pick up their chemicals, what they need. But these not chemicals. This is a new pesticide that come out of natural ground. And when it's coming from the natural ground, it should merge together with the ground and keep all the bugs away from it. So this right here will put you in another position where you can sit back and wage it however you want to wage it, and the rest of the people in the cultivation division would understand that once again the Green Believers came in, saved the day, and made sure that they was able to grow without getting spider mice and the other divisions on their weeds. So now they can have a special growth every 3 months. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, he has.
Well, it's so interesting because, as you know, Senate Bill 67, which is the Appellations of Origin program, which is really targeted for our cultivators, this proposal is what's the hot debate going on right now in legal cannabis in the state of California. So, as you know, Cal Cannabis last year proposed that we would have this Appellations of Origin program, which means that if you have this little seal that talks about, grown in the best parts of Humboldt County, or the soils of Santa Barbara, then, those are signs of good quality. But there's been this tension, and this is what we've been talking about, and maybe I want to ask you to weigh in, like between indoor grow and outdoor grow. So most of the outdoor growers that are up north and the traditional cannabis community growers, they have been lobbying to have the state confer that cannabis grown only in native soil, full sunlight, water, naturally on the land and all of that, that's the only way you can get this seal of quality. And it's contradictory because most of the cannabis licensing throughout the state are for indoor grows. People are growing indoors, and so they're using technology and LED lights to mimic, the real sunlight, and all kinds of aquaponic, hydroponic, watering, and those kind of conservation solutions. So how do you think that this particular pesticide or this service would be able to help us with those cultivators that are indoors? Can you talk a little bit about how that works? And then there's also the manufacturing process. So how can we tell when it goes from a flower to some kind of oil or something that, that whole process is still clean and, that there's no harmful solvents left behind after the reproduction of flowers into tinctures or edibles or a topical or something like that?
I can't speak to the specific science. That is something that's would be in Rich Numata's wheelhouse. I can, however, tell you that it is perfect. It is the perfect solution for the indoor growers. It's a little bit more complex with the outdoor growers because it has to be placed strategically to maintain its effectiveness. Now, there is very little dissipation, but in the indoor growing environment, we're looking at a clean growing environment for up to 3 to 5 years, where you don't have to ever concern yourself with infestation. Outdoors, it's a little bit more of a strategic application process that's involved. Now, Cheryl, he has used it to get rid of beetle infestation at commercial farms in Japan. He's used it on grapevine products, and he's used it on strawberries. Now, a couple of the products, and he's working out through his own testing system, had I think it was 1 or 2 of those type products that had a residual taste of pepper or a chili pepper. But for the grapes and for the other products, there was no residue or there was no residue of taste or impact as it pertains to transitioning from the flower to the manufacturing into the oils. There is absolutely no effect, because what they're doing is, what you're doing with the product, you're protecting the product from those type of vermin or arthropods that eat and destroy your crops. So it's great for that particular protection. And he's done similar type of products. Everything from using it on lettuce farms and a lot of the agricultural commercial farms in Indonesia. So I don't want to misspeak, so I'll belay the science of it, because I want you to get it straight from the source and the inventor and the CEO of the product. But it's a great product, and like I say, right now we have an opportunity to do business with LAUSD. His product is in front of the Office of Environmental Health and Safety, and he has to go through that bureaucratic maze to get it in front of some of the established industries. However, the Department of Transportation has solicited him to use his product. I have a contract that I'm going to work on today for him with HOCLA at the Housing Authority. So he's beginning to get a little traction. And I think because of this COVID-19 and people's concern for their safety and the hygienics piece, that as it pertains to his business, it's going to grow. As it pertains to this industry, it's a match made in heaven.
I definitely look forward to it because in the state of California, we have the California law requires that cannabis products be screened for the presence of over 60 different pesticides, which could be harmful to the human consumption. So that's huge. If your product can help us, screen for that to make sure, or if your product could replace one of those more harmful pesticides that growers may typically use, that's the kind of thing that we're in for. We could provide those solutions. So we're going to put you to the test. We're going to get you connected with some of our growers because we're growing now. We have indoor grows right here in Los Angeles. You would be surprised how much weed is growing right downtown.
So Cheryl, listen to this. Listen to this, sis. Here we talking about pesticides. So when we really look at it, we're getting ready to limit that, basically, because it's not going to be any pesticides in it. That's the great part of it that I'm trying to bring to the table. It's no pesticides, and when it's not no pesticides and everything comes from the ground without any man-made chemicals put on it, and these materials they're using can fight off everything without using a pesticide. The rules in California just changed for us, where now they can bring those 67 divisions to us, and they got to put them all the way to the side in the back and throw them in the trash can because there's no pesticide for them to choose from. So this right here is what we're trying to find out. So when you sit here and have this conversation with this gentleman, and he shows you that there's no pesticides in it, and then when you send it to your testing lab and they come back with no pesticides, then now we can truly market it to the rest of the cultivators and show them like, hey, we're not going to be in trouble because we don't have any pesticides in this item that we selling you guys. And this item right here is keeping the bugs and everything away from you. So it's not going to be no spider mice to eat up and tear the crop up.
Yep.
So that crop that what you growing inside is going to be perfectly well, and the strength of your weed is still going to remain the same or maybe even higher, and your soil alone going to be so clean that people can sit back and say that you guys got the best weed in town. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the table today and tomorrow and the next day, to make sure that we're not going through this other journey like everybody else is finding themselves in, checking for pesticide, and then when your lab get their hands on them and they give you the clean bill of health, then you got to figure out what you're gonna do in that business that you getting ready to create for the guys in South Central LA and around the world, when they sit back and say, Cheryl is standing on a gold mine, and it's okay for us to go down there to South Central LA where she built this great business with another partner, and now you guys can buy you guys chemicals, and they're not chemicals no more. You guys can buy you guys cultivation material from us, and it'll be clean, and you don't have to go through the EPA. That's the only thing we're trying to put in.
Because one of the value, Cheryl, is he has 4 different EPA certifications. And to break that down, unfortunately, the EPA made him certify for cockroaches, ants, under one EPA certification. Then they made him certify for field mice, spider mice, rodents, and just rats in another certification. And also with pigeons. Now, it doesn't kill pigeons, but for not to be graphic, what it does to pigeons, it heats up their hind parts, where if it's applied and they sit in it and track through it, they never ever come back. And I mean never come back. As it applies to the arthropods, then it either kills them or puts them in a position where they never come back. So the effectiveness is 3 to 5 years, which in and of itself, the way it is priced at the retail, wholesale, and distribution level makes it an incredible value proposition. So, but to really explain this, because he's been doing it for 12 years, I want to set up something with you and Whitey, so you can get the science behind it, and he can explain it much more eloquently than I can.
Okay. So, boss, this is where we at, boss. This is my boss. Sometime let me say something real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get confused. We are techno assistants. This is what we do every day in our lifetime, right at this moment. We understand COVID is here and it's delaying a lot of things. But being from the Green Believers, we are here to make sure that when DCR come aboard, that we are there to help you guys and sponsor you guys in ways that other people won't do. So each day we sit here, we try to figure out the best solution to a problem that need to be solved before the problem even come up. So again, Cheryl is from Green Believers. She is the founder. She's the president. She is the boss. I'm just Cheryl's dude who do what I'm told on a regular basis. And each day that I bring something to the table, she look at me and say, "You're doing better." So you got to understand, I am an ex-convict. I am dealing with 70 million votes.
Cut the crap, Whitey. Cut it out.
I am dealing with 70 million votes at this time.
Don't believe that, Antonio. Don't believe
Don't worry about it,
okay?
Antonio. But
that.
we are dealing with 70 million votes at this time. And we are getting ready to launch it, and we want everybody to pay attention. All the ex-offenders, please open your eyes and listen to what we're about to tell everybody in America. We are here on a new drive. We want to bring enlightenment to the whole community. We want to be able to place people in a better position than they was in yesterday. We want to be able to have you guys sit at a table and get you guys job things done. We want to be able to send you guys to Trade Tech, Southwest College for training. We want to be able to take care of the housing program. We want to be able to do all the little things that other people would not do for you guys. So everybody in jail, don't think your life is over because you're in jail. You still got an opportunity when you come home. And the Green Believers and the 70 million vote, we are here to help the best way we can. So we are preparing to put out something special in the next couple of weeks. So we need you guys to stay tuned, because this is what we do every day. We try to figure out how to bring you guys to the table to get you jobs that is necessary. We are from the Green Believers. We hope you guys pay attention. And we hope you guys don't mind donating to the cause, because it's going to be a good cause. Just find yourself a little piece in your heart to give a few dollars just to a good program. So back to the
I want to get back to the if you don't mind, sir. We definitely we're all about reentry, so that's what we're gonna do. But I had a couple of more questions, because this is really good. This is one of the things that we really wrestle with, this pesticide control and how we're going to do this as legal cannabis. So a couple of things I wanted to say. Even though he's EPA certified, you know that the EPA is still a part of the federal government, and the federal government has not yet approved cannabis. So I just want to remind your guy, you and him, about that, how we use his EPA certification. We'll have to be very delicate, because if we use it the wrong way, we may end up nullifying, what he can do in cannabis so far. And also, I wanted to say, are you able to talk a little bit about anything? Because they say prevention is the best thing, right? How do you don't really want to use the pesticide because you want to prevent that from happening. So I think that is another angle for organic pesticides, I guess you say, would be for prevention. And I know that messaging would go a long way with our folks, because they want it to be potent, but they also want it to be safe. So if we could prevent this from happening, what do you think your product, where do you guys weigh in on that?
In fact, it's better used as a proactive, preventative application. Because if you use it as a barrier sealant, right, they never get close to the plants. Now he knows the science of where each type of arthropod sort of enters into that space, and then the application of that is the perfect it acts as a barrier sealant, Cheryl. It a proactive measure that they don't get close to your plants. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So it's not just spraying the plants, but it's using it as a sealant, to put in strategic parts where it is incredibly effective. And as far as going back to the EPA, see, his EPA certifications are for the use as to protect against certain arthropods, the use for pigeons, and so this is just, as far as from a legal perspective, it's just another plant or product that's being protected from these arthropods, these pigeons and crows. The product itself is a protectant. So I definitely feel that it's not even an issue as it pertains to cannabis.
No,
it protects all plants and growing. Now they've used it at the county, at the sheriff's depot, because they had pigeons that were crapping all over the kiosk. They've used it at the Department of Public Works over in Alhambra on the sealant because they had crows. And it's also been used and I think you heard me say that they've used it at different stables and to protect the race horses. So there's a variety of uses for it, and those EPA certifications are specifically as it pertains to the ingredients of the product, and does it say what the owner says it can do. And it's been tested on just about everything.
So basically, it's a product that is found in the gardening labs. Wherever they sell garden items at, it's gonna be there, and they have no problem with that. Period. Because the federal government cannot stop America from selling a product that already been laid out for people to buy it from out of a store.
Absolutely. And one other thing, sure, one of the selling points when I sit down to advocate and to market his product, and one of the things that was very attractive to some of the government entities was that the maintenance teams did not have to have a pesticide control license to administer the product because there are no poisons and toxins. So it's a pesticide, non-pesticide. It does what a pesticide is supposed to do. But the beauty of it is the maintenance staff over at Internal Services Department for the county or the maintenance and facilities and maintenance for LA Unified School District, they can walk around with the product, and it also comes in tubes, and administer the product. It's just a matter of training them on the proper application of the product. But they don't mind using it because guess what? They don't have to have any kind of licensed pesticide, a pesticide license to use the product. And that's the beauty of the product.
I love it. I think this is where we're going to be. These are going to be some of the things we need to talk about and expose our growers to really, like you said, get a smaller group of people together that can really do, who can try your product out, test it, and see what we can do. One of the programs that we're going to have is like a safe pesticides practices that goes with the operating plan, so that we can help encourage people. Here's how you use safe pesticides. So the plan of action would literally be to avoid any outbreaks in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think that's how we'll be able to market it. And then with all of our medical cannabis partners and the medical minorities for medical marijuana and Americans for Safe Access, those are our ally partners who I think would be very interested in also working with you. If we partnered up as Green Believers, we want to bring safe practices to cultivators and growers. I just think that's going to be a big deal breaker. It'll be great. And then doing it within the social equity and African American, people of color communities. That could be a game changer if we can create jobs doing this. One of the key components of this, Whitey was talking about our 70 million votes, and this is just our way to get returning citizens reconnected to some of their fundamental rights that were taken away because of this racist incarceration system that we have in all the intersections. But the 70 million votes will get them active this year in particular, and proposals like this. I mean, man, come on, what we can get people to learn these STEM jobs. What is the average? Do you know the average pay or position for a best practice in preventing pests with your cannabis cultivation? What are some of those jobs that people?
I'll give you an example. In my quote that I submitted to the Department of Transportation over on Bandini in Commerce, they have a 40,000 square foot facility. So I was talking to the owner, and I said, well, how are we going to build out, and one of the things, and let me digress for 1 second, Cheryl. Whitey was talking about reentry program. So I have a reentry cleaning company. So what the owner does, he outsources the application because he's there, he demonstrates the application process for about 30 minutes, and then he lets the labor go and do the applications, particularly in a big facility like the Department of Transportation. Well, I have convinced him to use reentry people. Now, here's what we build out for our quote at DOT. We build out 6250, which means we're talking about $40 an hour for the application. Now we're going to have to use 3 because it's going. We calculated and I crunched the numbers. It's going to be about a 32 man-hour application to cover the 40,000 square feet, and so we build out at 6250. Subtract all the overhead that comes with that, FICA, Social Security, med. And it comes out close to $40 an hour. So the 3 individuals who are all going to come from a reentry-owned cleaning company, a guy that I'm working with, and so he'll be able to build outsource his people, 3 people, for that time at $62.50. So what I'm convincing the owners to do, both owners, let's raise this up to $70. So the margin in there will be available for this particular small business owner, as well as still in the price range to make our quote incredibly competitive.
I love it. I think that this is where we're going. I can't even get the words out right. But the jobs are going to be huge, and we can introduce people to what it means to be like a weed pest master, something like that, or a weed control professional. These licensed technicians, $40 an hour for these individuals coming home would be that a man could take care of a family on that, a woman could take care of a family making $40 an hour, because many of them, that's what their responsibilities are when they get home. A lot of the men and women that I talk to, they get so discouraged because those first 100 days are critical to getting on the pathway to success. And if you don't have a solid family, and just the things that you need, it's very tempting. It's very tempting to do what you got to do to make it. So if we could get people home and almost within that week, get them into pre-screening and testing, so that and testing for skills and reading and things like that, so we could quickly get them into some kind of training program and they could be introduced to these new careers. I know we got a ball game with your dude if he's willing to work with us on that. I want to get with him and cleaning partners right away, because we have small business development resources for the non-cannabis businesses. We're already a business development technical assistance program. We have that capacity building service. I have other resources. It's just for the cannabis businesses is where our people need the help, and we just don't have the resources, to pay. I have to pay more attorneys, which is a higher hourly rate than for some of the other business development activities like corporate formation, getting your partnership agreements right.
All right, well, Cheryl, I got to get off this line. I thank you for coming on, Anthony. I got to have you back.
Next time. Catch us next time. Yeah, we got to have you back.
This is the Green Believers signing off. We hope you guys listen to a great show. Tune in. Go back and listen to us over again. This is the Green Believers. This is Whitey from Whitey's Enterprise. This is Mr. Anthony Williams.
And Shirley Gurley.
And my girl, Shirley Gurley. We signing off. You guys have a nice one, and we see you next Wednesday.
Stay safe, everybody.
Right,
we'll
thank
be
you
back
guys.
next week.
Appreciate it.
Got some good stuff coming. Thanks for coming. Awesome show.